so the researchers who do a lot of that economic calculation are all economists, but a lot of the work is either looking at documents published by the Department of Defense. So a lot of the spending has to be made public. Um, so a lot of it is, like working on the internet, looking at databases that are published by the Department of Defense, Department of State, um, and then but there's also some spending that is like truly hasn't been tracked, and somehow it's been like we have so much money going towards the military that like things have literally gotten lost. Like we had a paper come out on Somalia, and the US, support economically to Somalia. And there's just like a lack of numbers and a lack of oversight. And that's why, the Pentagon goes through an audit every year. And that's like to look at their financials and to look over kind of like everything administratively to make sure everything's, going correctly and like checks and balances. And they've failed that every single year, I think, since they've started, which I believe was like 8 years ago, less than 10 years ago. So they've never passed an audit. There's a ton of like fraud, abuse, waste that happens in war spending. And so that's a huge thing as well that like always has to be taken into account when we say, the number economically, like that is just the number that we have the data on and that we can confidently say, like, this is what we've found. And these are the sources, and this is why we came up with that number. But, you can't know what you don't know in terms of some of those numbers that have been lost to that waste, fraud, or abuse.